lucky to be able to do that. That's one thing that I'm very aware of, that like, a lot of people just don't have, aren't fortunate enough, privileged enough to be in that position. So yeah, we're making stuff. I mean, I don't know if we're making like a new 1975 record, but to be honest with you, like I wouldn't be surprised. Not like an album, but like I don't know. Me and George are here, and we had a bunch of things that we were going to be working on kind of later on in the year anyway, that we just kind of bumped up to now. So that's what good. But
We're about to play the Daily Mail. You know, you've got a couple of Tom York crushes in here on this playlist. You got a couple that'll have me in pieces within the first two bars.
I made this playlist the other night, and we've been watching Ozark on Netflix, and that song's actually on Ozark.
Where are you up to right now?
Oh, I done it. I smashed it out. I think I've like finished YouTube. I think I've finished it. It's a nightmare. I've got nothing left in my life.
So Matthew, I have to ask you I'm assuming that Notes on a Conditional Form is now done, because every time I've asked you that question, probably a dozen times in the last 18 months, it's been getting incrementally closer, but we've never had it's a complete conversation. Is it complete?
Yeah, it's been done. It's sent off about a month ago now, like if not over. So like that's been done, and it was done way before this kind of situation really kicked off. So listening to it in the context of this has been quite weird, because it feels like it's not changed shape, it just feels like it's kind of solidified even more, like it kind of makes even more sense, which is weird. But so I'm I think it's my best record, but that's my job to think that,
What does releasing music feel like to you right now compared to how it would have felt a couple of months ago?
Releasing a record is fine, because that's like a long form expression that I know people genuinely emotionally invest in, and I think that people do need those kind of things right now. Doing something that feels like inherently self-interested, like promoting it, like outside of like this, for example, like I know you and we're known to know each other, and even it's slightly different doing something like this, but like just like promoting yourself at this time feels, I'm just very hyper aware of self-interest. It just is very glaring to me when I see it. So I'm trying not to be I'm trying to pay tribute to the situation at all times. To be honest with you, I just think that now is a real time for us to kind of like extend as much kind of like compassion and sympathy in like every direction. Do you know what I mean? Because people aren't kind of, it's not top trumps at the moment. Do you know what I mean? And you can't like, I can't empathize with somebody who's had all like, I mean, who can't afford to eat, like whether that's through privilege or luck or whatever. Like I can't truly sympathize with that, because it's not part of my experience. I can empathize with, for example, people who have been working incredibly hard towards like one thing, and to have that taken away, and to have to deal with the emotional and the financial implications of what that requires and stuff like that. And so it's kind of like, I think that everybody just needs to be kind of how I've seen people, which is kind of like, like just quite caring.
So you and George are kind of tucked away in quarantine together, which is convenient. That's great that you found yourselves in the same place, because not a lot of creatives have actually been able to do that. There's a lot of bands displaced all over the place trying to do it by Zoom or whatever. So you guys are you're in a like you said at the very beginning, and in a very self-aware way, you're already kind of in a privileged spot. You've got your buddy around, you've got your creative partner around. What can I ask? What has been coming out? Like, what have you been making? What's been the mood and the feel of it?
Like, I've been like kind of organizing what songs of the old ones that kind of exist on the internet that I'm gonna put out as like an official, like the first album that kind of never came out, but I'm gonna follow it with, like, there was so much Drive like later in between Drive Like I Do, kind of early 1975 stuff that just fell at the wayside, and no one's heard any of that.
We've been through some deep emotional music, and we've been through stuff that I've never heard before. We're on a real journey of discovery with Matthew Healy right now, and it's just lovely to see you, man. Safe and well, you and George, and you're staying close to friends and family, and are you using this time to sort of to continue to sort of solidify those connections that can often go by the wayside as we strive through life.
Totally. I mean, I'm also like really, really into like technology. It's like something that really excites me, and I think that people are kind of being like forced by this situation in order to kind of like extend their communication with people through different types of technology that normally aren't used, because the only technology we really like is ones that we can like integrate immediately into our life. And if we have to like slow down, we get a bit like bored of it, so we don't really try it out. But now people are like trying technology in a more kind of long form way. So I think that we're going to have this massive like desire for a different experience of technology, which I think is quite exciting. But it might be that might be the silver lining to an actual apocalypse. So
I was going to ask you if you've sort of applied yourself to any new learning.
I'm cooking a lot. I am cooking a lot. I do
Something
like to
tells me you
cook.
were always quite tidy in the kitchen.
Yeah, I'm pretty good. Like it's kind of my. I really like it. Like so, to be honest with you, George is probably better. Um, but he's got like OCD, so you're not going to beat someone like that, you know.
Go give George a big hug for us, man, and thanks for taking the time to share this with us.
Thanks, man.